Shabbat shalom, peace and love, Shabbat shalom. I'm going to be reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 76 to 78, and then moving into the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, and lastly, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6. Bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. The book of Psalms, chapter 76, verse 1. In Yehuda, Elohim is known. His name is great in Yisrael. Verse 2. And his booth is in Shalim, and his dwelling place in Sion. Verse 3. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield, and the sword, and the battle axe. Verse 4. You are resplendent, more excellent than mountains of prey. Verse 5. The stout hearted have been stripped. They slept their sleep, and none of the mighty men have found their hands. Verse 6. At your rebuke, O Elohim of Jacob, both the rider and the horse lay stunned. Verse 7. You are to be feared. And who would stand in your presence when you are displeased? Verse 8. From heaven you shall cause judgment to be heard. The earth shall fear and shall be still. From heaven you shall cause judgment to be heard. The earth shall fear and shall be still. Again, it says, from heaven you shall cause judgment to be heard. So it seems like the Most High is going to be, you know, making this judgment from the sky, and where, the whole earth shall hear. It says the earth shall fear and shall be still. Verse 9. When Elohim arises to right ruling, to save all the meek of the earth. When Elohim arises to right ruling, to save all the meek of the earth. This is the book of Psalms, by the way. Verse 10. For the wrath of mankind praises you. For the wrath of mankind praises you. With the remainder of wrath you gird yourself. Verse 11. Make vows to Yahuwah, Ya Elohim, and pay them. Make vows to Yahuwah, Ya Elohim, and pay them. Let all who are around him bring presents to the one to be feared. To the one to be feared. Verse 12. He cuts off the spirit of elders. He is awesome to the sovereigns of the earth. He cuts off the spirit of elders. I'm sorry. He cuts off the spirit of leaders. I don't know why I said elders. He cuts off the spirit of leaders. He cuts off the spirit of leaders. He is awesome to the sovereigns of the earth. He cuts off the spirit of leaders. He is awesome to the sovereigns of earth. Chapter 77, verse 1. My voice is to Elohim, and I cry. My voice is to Elohim, and he listens to me. Verse 2, in the day of my distress, I sought Yahuwah. My hand was stretched out in the night, and it did not cease. My being refused to be comforted. Verse 3, I remembered Elohim and groaned. I complained, and my spirit grew faint. Verse 4, you ceased the watches of my eyes. I was too troubled to speak. Verse 5, I have thought about the days of old, the years long past. Verse 6, I remember my song in the night. I meditate within my heart. And my spirit searches diligently. Verse 7, will Yahuwah reject forever and never again be pleased? Verse 8, has his loving commitment ceased forever? Has the promise failed for all generations? Verse 9, has El forgotten to show favor? Has he shut up his compassion in displeasure? Verse 10, and I said, this is my grief, that the right hand of the Most High has changed. That the right hand of the Most High has changed. Verse 11, I remember the deeds of Yah, for I remember your wonders of old. Verse 12, and I shall meditate on all your work and talk of your deeds. Verse 13, your way, O Elohim, is in set apartness. Who is a great El like Elohim? Who is a great El like Elohim? Verse 14, you are the El who does wonders. You have made known your strength among the peoples. Verse 15, by your arm you have redeemed your people, the son of Jacob and Joseph. Verse 16, the waters saw you, O Elohim. The waters saw you, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. Verse 17, the clouds poured out water, the heavens rumbled. Also, your arrows flashed back and forth. Verse, verse 18, the voice of your thunder rolled along, lightnings lit up the world, the earth trembled and shook. Verse 19, your way was in the sea, and your path in the great waters, and your footsteps were not known. Verse 20, you did lead your people like a flock by the hand of Moshe and Aaron. You did lead your people like a flock by the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Chapter 78, verse 1. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 78. The book of Psalms, chapter 78, by the way. Verse 1. My people, give ear to my Torah. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Verse 2. I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old. Sounds familiar? Sounds like the Messiah, right? It's being spoken of in Psalms. I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old. Verse 3, which we have heard and known, for our fathers have related them to us. Verse 4, we do not hide them from their children, relating to the generation to come the praises of Yahuwah and his strength and his wonders, which he has done. Verse 5, for he raised a witness in Jacob and set a Torah in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to our children. For he raised a witness in Jacob and set a Torah in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children. This is in the Psalms. This never changed. This was always this was always the instruction, that it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and relate them to their children. Come on, man. This was the whole objective. That it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and relate them to their children. To rise up and relate them to their children. That's the whole point. That was the whole point. Verse 7, and place their trust in Elohim. And place their trust in Elohim and not forget the works of El, but watch over his commands. But watch over his commands, not to forget the works of El, but watch over his commands. And not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation which did not prepare its heart, whose spirit was not steadfast to El. This was the fathers. This is why we were to teach these commands to our children. Verse 9, the children of Ephraim, armed bowmen, turned back in the day of battle. Verse 10, they did not guard the covenant of Elohim, and they refused to walk in his Torah. So we see specifically Ephraim refused to walk in the Torah. Verse 11, and they forgot his deeds. They forgot his deeds. And his wonders which he has shown them. Verse 12, he did wonders in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Mizraim, in the field of Zoan. Verse 13, he split the sea and caused them to pass through. And he made the water stand up like a heap. This is the Psalms. This is David. This is Dawid. Basically, he's, giving a recap of the wonders that the Most High was responsible for. He's giving a recap of what the Most High has done for our fathers of old, the ancient our ancient people. Verse 14, and led them with the cloud by day. And this is in the Psalms. This is in the Psalms speaking of Exodus. What was documented in Exodus. This is the psalmist recapping what was documented in Exodus. And all the night with a light of fire. Verse 15, he split the rocks in the wilderness and made them drink. Was that not written in Exodus? Verse 16, and brought forth streams from the rock and caused waters to come down as rivers. Verse 17, they yet they sinned still more against him. Yet they sinned still more against him. Yet they sinned still more against him. To rebel against the Most High in the desert. Verse 18, and they tried El in their heart. By asking food according to their desire. By asking food according to their desire. Verse 19, and they spoke against Elohim. They said, is El able to set a table in the wilderness? Verse 20, look, he struck the rock so that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Is he able to give bread also? Would he provide meat for his people? This is what they were concerned with. Verse 21, therefore Yahuwah heard, and he was wroth, so a fire was kindled against Jacob, and displeasure also came up against Yisrael. Verse 22, because they did not believe in Elohim, neither did they trust in his deliverance. They did not believe. Neither did they trust. Is this not, our people of today? Is this not our people today? Don't believe, they paying attention to everything but the word? They pay more attention to the people that's reading than what's being read. Like, are we not all human? Are we not all mere flesh? Like, no one is perfect. Only thing is perfect is what's being read. But yet you have most people, you know, paying attention to the reader. It's sad, man. We're only mere flesh. No, whether you label yourself something or label yourself a minister, label yourself. I don't go by any of that. I'm just a brother reading. I'm just a mere flesh reading. Mere flesh. I don't have any title. I don't have any label. So any expectation of me being perfect, any expectation of me being, you know, somebody in a suit and tie, you know what I mean? But, people have their own issues that they got to work out, you know? People seriously got their own issues that they have to work out. And it has nothing to, most of the time, it has nothing to do with me or anybody else. Mainly has to do with them, you know? It mainly has to do with them. And they have to figure that out. You know what I mean? Verse 25. Men ate bread of the mighty. He sent them provisions through satisfaction. And we're in the book of Psalms, by the way. Book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 25. Peace and love, peace and love. Men ate bread of the mighty and sent them provisions to satisfaction. He made an east wind blow in the heavens, and by his power he brought it in the south wind. Verse 27. And he rained meat on them like the dust, and winged birds like the sand of the sea. Verse 28. And let them fall in the midst of his camp, all around his dwelling place. Verse 29. So they ate and were completely satisfied, for he brought them what they desired. Verse 30. They had not turned away from their desire. Their food was still in their mouths. Verse 31. When the wrath of Elohim came against them, and he killed among their fat ones, and he struck down the choice ones of Israel. And this is the book of Psalms, and the psalmist is recapping what was written in the book of Exodus. If you're not familiar with the Bible, you're not going to understand what's being read. You're going to think I'm trying to, you know, I'm I'm reading, like I'm reading the Psalms. It's not trying to win you over. I'm not trying to win anybody over. You're going to be, you like you if you're familiar with the Psalms, or if you're familiar with Exodus, you're going to you're going to see, you know, you're going to see the corroboration and how it's, it connects, and what the psalmist is reading, like, you know what I mean? They did they had not turned away from their desire. Their food was still in their mouths. When the wrath of Elohim came against them, and he killed among their fat ones, and he struck down the choice ones of Israel. Verse 32. In spite of all In spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. In spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. So you got the same people from the past, the same people of the day, you know? Like same people, you know, who are imperfect, the same people who are judgmental, the same people who are pointing the finger when they got their own thing going on, when they got some fixing to do themselves. These are the same people of the book. The same people of old are the same people of today. The same people in the prophet in the Psalms and in Exodus and it was in the desert are the same people of today. Oh, you this, you're that. Don't even know you. Don't even know you. You're this and that, and you know, judging you. Don't even never even met you. Never even met me. I'm looking at I'm looking at a bunch of nonsense that I'm not even familiar with. That's in the comments, not on this platform, but on another platform. I don't even know this person. Person don't know me, but they're portraying like they're making it, you know, seem as if they know me and you know making a judgment of what they don't know and who they don't know. But it's just it makes is basically makes perfect sense of how the people of old are no different than the people of the day. No different. It's sad, man. You can't know a person. You got to know yourself. There's no possible way you can know anybody until you know yourself. You got to know who you are. And once you realize who you are, you're going to pay less attention to what who somebody else are. You know, you're going to pay less attention of anybody else. Can't possibly know me, but until you know begin to know yourself. Just a thought. But when the wrath of Elohim came, verse 33. So he ended their days in a breath, and their years in trouble. Verse 34. When he killed them, then they sought him, and they returned and did earnestly seek him. They did earnestly seek El. And they remembered that Elohim was their rock, and the Most High El, their Redeemer. But they flattered him with their rock. They flattered him with their mouth, and they lied to him with their tongue. For their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not true to his covenant. But he, the compassionate one, pardoned crookedness and did not destroy them. But he, the compassionate one, pardoned crookedness and did not destroy them. And many a time he turned his displeasure away and did not stir up all his wrath. and did not stir up all his wrath. Ain't that something? Even though they were this and even though they were that, the compassion in one part of their crookedness. And this is the Psalms. This is the book of Psalms. And did not stir up his wrath. Verse 39. For he remembered that they were but flesh. For he remembered that they were but flesh. For he remembered that they were but fresh. For he remembered that they were but flesh. So at the end of the day, we're all but flesh. We're all in the we're all in this right here. We're all in this. This is the problem. As long as we're in this, it's going to be an issue. As long as we're in this, it's going to be an issue. So you can point the finger all you want, but you're in the same skin. You're in the same problem. You're in the same issue. You're in the same issue. So, you know, like I said, you got to know yourself before you can know anybody else. You have to know yourself. You gotta check yourself. You gotta address yourself. Verse 39. For he remembered that they were but flesh. For he remembered, where's my pen at? I gotta underline that. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. A passing breath that does not return. Ain't that something? They were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. Verse 40. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. Verse 41. And again they tried El and provoked the set apart one of Yisrael. Verse 42. They did not remember his hand, the day when he redeemed them. So they went and sinned again. They went and rebelled again. Verse 43. Verse 42. They did not remember his hand, the day when he redeemed them from the adversary. They did not remember his hand, the day when he redeemed them from the adversary. Verse 43. How he worked his signs in Mizraim and his wonders in the field of Zoan. Verse 44. He turned their rivers into blood and they could not drink their streams. Verse 45, he sent among them swarms of flies which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them. Verse 46, and gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. Verse 47, he destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. Verse 48, and gave their beasts over to hell, and their livestock to bolts of fire. Verse 49, he sent on them the burning of his displeasure, wrath and rage and distress, a deputation of messengers of evils. Verse 50, he made a path for his displeasure. He did not spare their being from death, but gave their life over to the plague. We see that there's a messenger of evil. He sent them the burning of his displeasure, wrath and rage and distress, a deputation of messengers of evil. We see that the Most High have messengers of evil to carry out his wrath. He made a path of displeasure. He did not spare their being from death, but gave their life over to the plague. Verse 51, and he struck all the firstborn in Mizraim, the first fruit of strength in the tents of Ham. Verse 52, then made his own people go forth like sheep, and led them in the wilderness like a flock. Verse 53, and he led them on safely, and they did not fear, but the sea covered their enemies. Verse 54, and he brought them to the border of his set apart place, this mountain which his right hand had gained. Verse 55, and drove out nations before them, and allotted them a measured inheritance, and made the tribes of Israel dwell in their tents. Verse 56, yet they tried and rebelled against the Most High Elohim, and did not guard his witnesses. Verse 57, but they turned back and acted treacherously like their fathers. They twisted like a treacherous bow. Verse 58, for they enraged him with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their carved images. High places and carved images. Are we not to this day building high places and carving images? High places, carved images everywhere. High places and carved images everywhere. Is this not what we see in every city? Verse 59, when Elohim heard this, he was rough and greatly despised Yisrael. Verse 60, and he left the dwelling place of Shiloh, the tent which he had set up among men. Verse 61, and he gave his strength into captivity, and his comeliness into the hand of the adversary. Verse 62, and he gave his people over to the sword, and he was rough with his inheritance. Verse 63, his young men were consumed by fire, and his maidens were not praised. Verse 64, his priests fell by the sword, and their widows could not weep. Verse 65, then Yahuwah awoke as one asleep, as a mighty man who shouts because of wine. Verse 66, and he struck his adversaries backward. He put them to an everlasting reproach. Verse 67. Then he rejected the tent of Joseph and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. Verse 68. But chose the tribe of Yehuda, Mount Zion, which he loved. Did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yehuda, which he loved. I wonder, it's worth doing research on Ephraim and the roots of Ephraim and the history of Ephraim. It's worth it to understand what this verse right here means. He rejected the tent of Joseph. He rejected the tent of Joseph and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. That's very important. He rejected the tent of Joseph and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. Find out who the tent of Joseph was and the tribe of Ephraim. Do the research. It's interesting who you relate that tribe to. But chose the tribe of Yehuda, Mount Zion, which he loved. Verse 69, and he built his set apart place like the heights, like the earth, he founded it forever. Verse 70, and he chose Dawid his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. Verse 71, he brought him in from tending the ewes to shepherd Jacob his people and Yisrael his inheritance. Verse 72, and he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and led them by the skill of his hands. That was the book of Psalms, chapter 76 to 78. We're going to get into the book of Proverbs, chapter 26. Book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 1. Like snow in summer and rain in harvest, so esteem is not fitting for a fool. Verse 2. As a bird wanders, as a swallow flies about, so a curse without cause does not come. A curse without cause does not come. Verse 3. A whip for a horse, a bridle for a donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. A rod for the fool's back. Verse 4. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also become like him. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also become like him. Verse 5. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he become wise in his own eyes. So, verse 6. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off feet, drinks damage. Verse 7. The legs of the lame hang limp. So is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Verse 8. Like one binding a stone in a sling, so is he who gives esteem to a fool. Verse 9. A thorn goes into the hand of a drunkard, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Verse 10. An archer who wounds anyone is he who hires a fool or any passerby. Verse 11. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Verse 12, have you seen a man wise in his own eyes? There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. Verse 13, the lazy one says, there is a lion in the way, a fierce lion in the streets. Verse 14, as a door turns on his hinges, so does the lazy one turn on his bed. So does the lazy one turn on his bed. Verse 15, the lazy one buries his hand in a dish. It tires him to bring it back to his mouth. Verse 16, the lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than seven rendering advice. The lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than seven rendering advice. Verse 17, a passerby meddling in a strife not his own is like one who takes hold of a dog by the ears. A passerby meddling in strife not his own is like one who takes hold of a dog by the ears. Verse 18, like a madman who throws sparks, arrows, and death. Verse 19, so is a man who deceived his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Verse 20, for lack of wood, the fire goes out, and without a slanderer, strife ceases. Verse 21, as charcoal is to burning coal, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Verse 22, the words of a slanderer are as dainty morsel, which go down into the inner parts of the heart. Verse 23, burning lips with an evil heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. Verse 24, he who hates pretends with his lips. He who hates pretends with his lips. He who hates pretends with his lips and lays up deceit within him. Verse 29, though he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are seven abominations in his heart. Though he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are seven abominations in his heart. Verse 26, hatred is covered by deceit. His evil is disclosed in the assembly. Verse 27, whoever digs a pit falls into it, and whoever rolls a stone, it turns back on him. Verse 28, a lying tongue hates its bruised ones, and a flattering mouth works ruin. That was the book of Proverbs, chapter 26. We're going to get into the book of Ecclesiastes. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6, verse 1. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is great among men. Verse 2, a man to whom Elohim has given riches and wealth and esteem, so that his being lacks none at all of what he desires. But Elohim does not permit him to eat of it, and a foreigner consumes it. This is a futile, and it is an evil disease. Verse 3, if a man brings forth 100 children and lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his being is not satisfied with goodness, or indeed he has no burial place, I say that a premature birth is better than he. Verse 4, for it comes in futility and goes away in darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Verse 5, even the sun it has not seen, It has more rest than that man. Verse 6, and though he lives 1,000 years twice over, yet he shall not see goodness. Do not all go to one place? Verse 7, all the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not satisfied. Verse 8, for what advantage has the wise over the fool? What advantage does the poor have who knows how to walk before the living? Verse 9, what the eye see is better than what the desire goes after. What the eye see is better than what the desire goes after. What the eye see is better than what the eye see is better than what the desire goes after. That too is futile and feeding on wind. Verse 10, whatever shall be has already been named, and it is known that he is son of Adam, and he is unable to contend with him who is mightier than he. Verse 11, the more words, the more futility. What is to man the advantage? Verse 12, for who knows what is good for man in life, all the days of his futile life, which he passes like a shadow? For who declares to man what shall be after him under the sun? For who declares to man what shall be after him under the sun? That was the book of Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna close this live out and I'm gonna pick it back up in the book of Leviticus, and then from Leviticus I'm gonna close that live out and we're gonna move into the book of the prophets. Peace, love, Shabbat shalom, peace and love.